was it 2 years ago that Jacob Frey, the mayor of Minneapolis, said no more no-knock warrant arrests or home invasions, I guess. I mean, this is where the cops, SWAT team shows up, they bust into a house unannounced.
Yeah.
And
it's what killed Breonna Taylor in Kentucky.
What killed Breonna Taylor in Kentucky in the wake of the Floyd murder.
That's right.
The Minneapolis police supposedly ended this practice, and I don't know if we should play the video. It's a little bit disturbing. Maybe we cut out of it a little bit early, but let's play just the first part of that video. You see the police, and we will cut out of it before. But I know that you've been talking about this a lot, Ben. Why don't you just tell the general scene?
Yeah. So this is footage. This is body cam footage that was released yesterday by, I'm not sure if it was the Minneapolis police or the St. Paul police, because it was a joint action between those two police departments as covered by my sister, Georgia Fort, who's there in the Minneapolis area. She obtained the body cam footage, and I've been sharing it all over Twitter, but it shows a police officer storming into Amir Locke's into an apartment where Amir Locke was sleeping. And in the video, he's wrapped in a blanket, and the police officers in fewer than 9 seconds kill him on the scene.
It's 6 a.m. or 6:15 a.m. in the morning. The TV's on. He obviously fell asleep watching TV, wrapped in a blanket. Now, he has a weapon, according to the police. It's unclear, why, but he's not even named on the warrant.
That's right.
I mean,
name on the warrant, and he was licensed to carry, according to reports from his family. And
this is okay. Well, do we have the video? Yeah. All right, let's just play the first part of it and cut out before.
Yeah.
See the no-knockness of it.
Yeah, sort of like how they're just sneaking in here. This is 6 in the morning. They're picking the lock. They have the key, I guess.
Police search warrant! Police search warrant! Police search warrant!
Okay, and then like 2 seconds later,
they kill him.
You never even see the guy's face, really.
I know. Well, you see him under a blanket.
Yep. Under the blanket, sleeping under.
Sleeping.
The amazing thing about this is that on one hand, we have a society that seems to be like sort of barreling to the requirement that you carry guns. I mean, we're starting to see that. On the other hand, here is basically, you have a gun when people bust into your house. Like, presumably, this is why you have a gun, right? I mean, which one of these groups here in this is the good guy with the gun?
Yeah. Well, it's never the black person, for sure. Breonna Taylor is dead because of that. So is Philando Castile, who was licensed to carry, and that, if I'm not mistaken, that officer got away with killing him. That's the dream scenario that conservatives think of, NRA likes to promote, is when someone breaks into your house late at night, early in the morning. And so Amir Locke was doing exactly what America tells you should do. You should own a gun legally, properly, and you should be at home, not out doing anything wrong. Sleep, watching cartoons. I don't know what he was watching. He was wrapped up in his blanket, and yet none of that was enough to keep him from being killed in a country that celebrates the Second Amendment.
After George Floyd died, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey said that they were going to look at the no-knock warrants and get rid of them, and have cops have to announce themselves. Nonetheless, apparently in this case, St. Paul police originally were not going to go for a no-knock warrant, and Minneapolis police insisted on it. And just another from last year, April 30th, 2021, KARE 11 investigates. Mayor Frey apologizes for no-knock raid, asked for an investigation. This was a different one. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey says he apologized Friday to the Coon Rapids woman whose home was mistakenly raided by a SWAT team at the request of Minneapolis police. This type of obvious breakdown in process and horrible mistake is unacceptable, period, Frey said.
Sure.
I mean, period. period, and it's going to happen again because Jacob Fry, and we mentioned this on Left Reckoning with GP Jacob, he's the perfect neoliberal mayor to come out and say he cares, but he doesn't care. He doesn't care. He has absolutely zero capacity to get the Minneapolis police under control.
And that's why these like little measures of directives and things like that are so ineffective. I mean, chokeholds were banned, I believe, in New York when Eric Garner was killed with one. So like, I mean, no knock warrants, we're not doing them anymore, except when we have to. If we really decide to, we're going to do it anyway. It's just like, there is no way around wholesale and federal overhauls of the police with real consequences and an end to qualified immunity, actual prosecution of these people, and the demilitarization of the police in a way that is substantial and not just like a press release. I mean, Matt, the other day you called Biden the press release president. Like, how have the Democrats, and I know now we're bringing it back to the federal level, but like the idea that the Democrats have gotten away with doing zero on police reform after George Floyd, and that there has not been substantive legislation, you have to get rid of the filibuster, but the fact that they want to fundraise off of it and they send out emails about racism and all this stuff, and they've done nothing actually about it, that pisses me off. It really does. I mean, it was the same thing with gun violence. They talk a huge game on it, and they want to use it so that they can get some donations. But when they actually have to change Senate procedure in order to get something done, they're unwilling to do it. It's awful.
That's right.
What's the next step here? I mean, we saw, I guess, close to 2 years ago now, some of the most dramatic, consistent, well-attended protests and movement that was on the streets that we've seen in this country. I mean, certainly since the Iraq War, maybe even before that, it supersedes it. And out of that, there was a couple of cities that I can think of that had some measure of reform. Much of that sort of walked back probably since then a little bit. But what's the answer after that doesn't work? Or is it your sense that there are people who are willing to do that again for an extended period of time? Has COVID just sort of like soaked? I mean, what's the next step? If that didn't do it, what will?
Power, like real power. We got to snatch power back away from people like Joe Manchin, Kyrsten Sinema, the list of them, of Jim Clyburn, the whole lot of them, because Democrats have had the uncanny gift of being able to satiate the masses with symbolism. Right. Now, the masses went out 2 years ago and did our part. Matter of fact, we did our part to try to help save people from COVID-19. This is the same leadership that is getting us killed from COVID-19. And I'm sorry, I don't distinguish at this point. We had about 400,000 underneath Trump. We had about 400,000 plus underneath Joe Biden. So to me, it is progressives and people who are of good faith, because we got some crappy progressives, too. But people of good faith need to get power and actually do something with that power. That's economic power, that's political power, and that's social power. We need all three.
Well, how does that happen at that point? I mean, the political power, I guess the economic power is fairly straightforward, although I don't know how. I mean, there's small donor fundraising, I guess, and there's some organizing as consumers to the extent that people can do that. I don't think that's particularly long-term effective or really the way you want to organize. So how do we get that political and societal power?
Well, the first step is for us to go ahead and make up our minds that the Democratic Party isn't going to do anything for us, and then govern ourselves accordingly. And it's for, the economic part, everyone has their own route to their own economic power. I think we as people who are progressives, leftists, consider ourselves socialists. I think we might need to recalibrate and understand that maybe we play the game better than them. but that's a whole nother conversation. But in terms of political power, we absolutely have to start snatching power away from these people who have I don't care how old they are. I don't care how black they are. I don't care how young they are.